A freedom story is a visualization exercise that has you imagine what life would be like if you freed yourself from everything that holds you back. So you read the story prompts and then complete the sentences. But you imagine that you're telling the story 10 years from now. And even though the story you're telling is about yourself, you imagine you're telling it about someone else. This distance sometimes helps us be bolder and more imaginative about the possibilities. Let's look at an example of a freedom story to illustrate the exercise.
There once lived a man called Kanishk, and he had many strengths. He was smart and funny and helpful and honest, but he was also afraid of many things. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to give his children the same things he received from his father. Kanish's father had grown up in Bihar and done his schooling there, but he'd gone on to study at MIT and Wharton, become director of HUL and Lafarge, and was a completely self-made man. He'd given his children the best of education, international holidays, everything they could want. But Kanishk was afraid that if after receiving all the things he had growing up, if he could not give that to his own children, he would have failed them. And the impact of this on his life was he lived a very conventional and safe life. He did his engineering and CA from the UK, did an MBA, joined an MNC, HUL, and was doing well in a typical corporate career. But he felt stifled and bored, and he wasn't enjoying what he was doing. But one day he realized that he was the only one with the authority to decide what success meant for himself, and that he wanted to live the sort of life that he would enjoy reading about, and that he needed to find a way to do that and to give his kids the same privileges in life that he had gotten as a kid. When he conquered his fears, he quit his job at the age of 29 and started his own leadership training firm. And he ended up doing exactly the sort of work he dreamed of doing: writing books, TED Talks, coaching famous CEOs, teaching at ISB, traveling around the world, delivering programs with his wife, and at the same time sending his kids to the best schools in the country. And he found it was possible to achieve financial security while living his own dream life.
And that's an example of what we call a freedom story. When you create your freedom story, imagine you're telling it in the future. And when you say one day he or she realized, the day you're talking about is today. And when you've completed the exercise, imagine that you wrote an autobiography. Or if you're too lazy to do that, imagine biographies were written about you. I would call my autobiography The Game of Life. What would you call yours? Have fun with this exercise.